بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بالغ الخلاق الأجمعين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين حبيبنا وحبيب إليه العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى طيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين ولعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum to the brothers and sisters and respected elders. May inshallah Abu Abdullah al-Hussain have accepted Hazrat al-Zahra sallallahu alayhi, our mourning for Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. And may inshallah these majalis excel us in every way towards Allah Azza wa Jal. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah, we've been able to cover a few topics in these few nights that Allah has blessed us with. Inshallah, we're going to more practical topics slowly. And it was deemed appropriate that today I go on the promise that I made about some important issues that we have in our societies, that may these things that we're going to say inshallah help that. And one of them, of course, is family, and bringing up a family, bringing up kids, especially in the West. And another is this understanding of masculinity or femininity within Islam, which we did touch upon yesterday, but inshallah we can say in the context of family. Now, of course, family is extremely important in Islam. Extremely important. And as we know, it is very difficult to bring up children and have a family in an Islamic way in a non-Islamic society. How is it that we can live and bring up our children and have a family in the path of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain here in the West? How is it? How can I do that? What are some practical tips? What are some ways that I can accomplish this living in a non-Islamic society? And by non-Islamic society I mean, of course, the West. I mean, no one can claim that it's an Islamic society, but your day-to-day, you're with a society, for example, that, I mean, it doesn't care about Islamic laws. Most of the people are not Muslims, they're different faiths, and you might have friends that are, for example, Christian, they're Jewish, they're different faiths. But how can I still instill this Imam Hussein's ideology within my children and Imam Hussein's ideology within my family while living here? While living here. That's something very important. It's difficult, as it says. Now, of course, yes, there are some schools in some communities that, alhamdulillah, there's Islamic schools, for example. And we can limit, of course, the amounts that non-Islamic things are taught, or things that might be, not good for our family or not good for our children in these schools. But that's not enough. The school itself, of course, if there is, then alhamdulillah, that's very good. But the school itself is not enough. There are some things that some parents do care for, and some things that are more important that they don't care for. And I'll give you an example. The example is that if we look into some families, and the best is, of course, to look at ourselves and not to others. First, we're trying to fix our own problems. But if we look into it, we see that sometimes other things, worldly things, are more important to us than the akhirati things, than the religious things. For example, a parent is more upset at their children for getting a bad grade or not doing well at school than they are if they don't pray on time. Now, of course, praying on time doesn't mean that, of course, if they don't pray on time, I lose it and I do something non-Islamic. No, there's ways, of course, of doing tarbiyah that we all know in the most calmest way. But in doing so, children and our families, they're very perceptive. They will understand this, that what is very important Are the grades in my school are very important? Which they are, of course they are. It builds your future. We should, as Muslims, we should do well at school. That's our duty. To whatever we do the best at. We try to achieve the greatest. However, of course, deen is more important. There's no one that will say, no, deen is less important. Your akhirah is less important. So the same importance should be there. The same fear some of us have as soon as one of our children do bad in school, we want to get them a tutor. We want to try to figure out ways to make them do better, speak to their teachers, get them extra books. That same style of fear should be in our day-to-day lives about their religion. That same style of fear should be in our lives. So we should consciously be thinking about ways that I can bring this child up in a Hussaini environment. Now, of course, one of the main and one of the best ways of doing this is these communities. Coming to the majalis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. It's very good. That has its effects, of course it does. Let's not take it for granted, as we mentioned yesterday. These majalis, each one of us are invited by Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, and we should thank it. Not that we did anything, of course, but alhamdulillah, Allah blessed us, we were able to come to these majalis, and we should continue this, especially for our children. To come to that majlis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, it has its effects, definitely. It has its effects. But the question is, that the majalis for Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, how much is it? It's the 10 nights of Ashura, for example, or Muharram, and then Arba'een, if there's how many lectures, and that's it? Or is it that every day and every week and throughout the year, I need to teach my children to live the life of Imam Hussain alayhi salam? How can I do that? Of course, one of them is constant connection with communities. If we pay attention to our own religion, what are the things that has been said are mustahab to do, which have been very, very important in our religion? One is Salat al-Jama'ah, for example. Now it's best to do Salat al-Jama'ah. If your house is, for example, very close to the masjid, some have said that it's wajib for you to come to the masjid and pray Jama'ah. Why is this? Why is the emphasis so much on Jama'at? You could say, if I pray at home, for example, I have more attention. There's less distractions, and I can focus. I can pray slowly. I can take 2 hours to do one prayer. I can have much more attention to Allah. You could say that, but Allah still said no. Jama'at is more fazilat. Come to Jama'at. And the reason, brothers and sisters, is this sense of community, this sense of togetherness. It has a huge effect. It's a mini Islamic society within the society that we're living in now. It's a mini society within the society we're living now. So these communities are very important. Let's know the blessings of these communities. Let's take care of our communities. Our brothers, our sisters, that we come together. These are very important. Very important. And we're even much more connected to one another in these communities, whatever ethnicity, different ethnicities, because I've been into some, for example, masajid or some communities that they're very mixed. It's the only Shia community and it's very mixed. Different country, Iraqis, Lebanese, Pakistani, Indians, all together in one masjid. Very good. And to understand, actually, I am more closer to this brother or a sister is more closer to our own sister in this community than, yes, someone that is, for example, from the same nationality as me, but doesn't have the same faith as me. Because that's what brings me closer. That's what brings me closer. Yes, this brother believes in Imam Hussain alayhi salam. It might be that this other person is from the same country as me, but doesn't have the ideology of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. They haven't shed tears for Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. They haven't shed tears for the person that I love the most. At least I say I love the most. Yes? So these communities are very important. Within this community, a second thing for bringing up our children and bringing up our families in an Islamic society and helping this live a life of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain is their friends. I have seen sometimes in some societies, parents don't even know the friends of their children. They don't know who they are. Yes, they know by their name, but they don't. And of course, I'm not saying to go so deep into their lives, and I'm not saying to be too picky, but of course we're supposed to know who they are. Of course we have to see what kind of family they come back. If it wasn't important, Amir al-Mu'mineen wouldn't have the hadith in Ajal Balagha saying, show me a person's friend and I'll tell you who they are. Show me their friend and I'll tell you who they are, what kind of a person they are. Because even if we are not like them, if you have new friends that are of certain caliber, after a while you will adopt their habits, whether you know it or not. You will adopt it. You will adopt it. Why? Because day to day you're with them. At school, after school, playing around. They have a certain vocabulary that they use, whether it be good or bad. And you will get it. You will adopt it. Maybe not the first day, maybe not the first week, maybe not the first month. Slowly, slowly, you will adapt to it. It will become normal. Even if you don't use it, this vocabulary, whether it be a bad friend and they use a bad vocabulary, it will become normal to you. The fact that it becomes normal to you, it's bad already. And I'm not only talking about, of course, children or youth, or I'm talking about in all ages. Doesn't matter, all ages. Male or female. Young or old, doesn't make a difference. But it will have an effect. Sometimes our elders, let's not think that, oh, I cannot change, I'm old now. No, we can. There has been instances in history where people much older than elders, at that last moment they fell. At that last moment they fell. Because of different reasons. We are not safe until we're on this planet, we are in this dunya, we're not safe. We always have to remember the lectures before, khawf and raja. We always have to be careful. We always have to be careful. We always have to have khawf and raja. Always hope in Allah, that Allah of course has His mercy and will forgive all my things and my sins. And always have the khawf that may I not fall because of my own actions. These two wings, khawf and raja. Now friends play a very, very, very important role, brothers and sisters. Personal experience, I can tell you 100% it does. 100% it does. Especially in schools for kids, especially us in the workplace. And that doesn't mean we can't befriend, of course, a non-Muslim or anything like that. No, we can be friends, acquaintances. But having hope is something else. That constant connection is something else. That constant connection, having with a Muslim brother, these communities that we have to have this. We have to have this. That when we come in a community, our friends, the people that we hang around with, they still have that hubb of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. They are trying to live in the demeanor of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Now yes, someone can be Shia by name, but they don't care anything about that. That's not what I mean. That's again not in the criteria that we want. No, good individuals, with good parents, with good morals, with good akhlaq. I have to take care of this. This is very important. Very important. Now the third thing that I can bring up my children in a good Abu Abdullah Hussaini environment is not only that they have to feel like Muharram has come when they come to the masjid, but inside their home they need to feel it. They need to feel it. Mothers, when Muharram comes, dress your children in black. They need to understand, tell them why. Not just dress them in black, but tell them, now we are mourning for our Mawla, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And why we wear black. Every year. This black I'm wearing is to show that I am it is as if that this event has happened right now. And I'm mourning it as if it's repeated again. Right now it's happened. Right now. There's a hadith from my brother alayhi salam. My brother alayhi salam says, when it would reach to the month of Muharram and Safar, we would not see our father, Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, even smile. We would know this is the month of Muharram and Safar. We would know. It's a month of being upset. This is a month of qam. They need to understand it. So in the environment of the home, if we're saying we're doing mourning for Abu Abdullah Hussein, but there's no signs in the house. Where's our black flag? Where's our banner for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. These are important. It might be, in our minds, it might be, what is Sheikh talking about? This small, okay, well, it has an effect. You think if they pass in the living room and they keep not seeing the name of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, that doesn't have an effect? It has an effect. They're growing up in this atmosphere. That if someone comes into your house, they don't think, okay, this is a Westerner that is super materialistic. Why? Because the carpet is the same color as the curtains, and this is the, I mean, I'm not saying, of course, our house doesn't have to be nice. Of course it has to be nice, it has to be tidy, it has to be clean, it has to look very chic. But you see everything but not the signs of a Muslim-looking house. An ayah of the Quran on the wall, a flag of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. They need to understand month of Muharram has come. With the way of dressing, whether it be my mother, my father, the way that they've dressed me, the way our house looks, we're putting a flag. It's customary, at least I've seen it in Iran, for example, it's customary that people, even outside their house, they would put a black flag with Abu Abdullah Hussein's name. We are mourning for Abu Abdullah Hussein. How is it that in so many cultures, when our fathers, our mothers, God forbid, pass away and we put a black banner and put their names, but a person more important than our fathers and our mothers, Abu Abdullah Hussein, comes and we don't put a black flag. We don't have a sign showing, yes, we are in the mourning of Abu Abdullah Hussein. How is it? A person more important than our Abi wa Ummi, our mother, our father. It makes no sense. They need to feel it. They need to feel it. The mourning for Abu Abdullah Hussein. Fourth. The fourth is ziyarat. Of course, we have to ask for ziyarat. We have to yearn for ziyarat. But to plan that to take my children for ziyarat. Sometimes I've seen some families, years has gone by, or they haven't even seen. How is my son or daughter supposed to have a connection with Abu Abdullah Hussein when in picture they've only seen the zari of Abu Abdullah Hussein? Look at the hadith we have about going to the ziyarat of Abu Abdullah Hussein. In some ziyarat, in some hadith it says borrow money and go. Borrow money and go and do the ziyarat of Abu Abdullah Hussein. Now, of course, we have to understand the both sides of it. Yes? But if it has been a long time that I haven't gone, borrow money and go. Yes? If we can't plan every once a year, very amazing. Either I go on Ashura or I go on Arba'in or some other time in the winter. If not, once every 2 years. But let it not be a couple of years has gone by and they haven't seen Abu Abdullah Hussein. Yes, it is very important to take our children on holiday, obviously good environment, not in a non-Islamic environment, which will be detrimental to them. No, in a good Islamic environment. But it's also good to take them on ziyarah. And you can actually combine them into, yes, take them, for example, you go to Mashhad, to the ziyarat of Imam Rida alayhi salam, do other things, take them to a water park, take them to this, take them to that. Very good. It's very good. Do other things. Then you do a ziyarat in Iraq, for example. You can do other things. Make it exciting for them. Make them enjoy it. Yes, we're going to Iraq or Iran. Yes, make them enjoy it. Not only ziyarat, come out ziyarat. No, make them enjoy it. There's a place in these in the Haram, other in different Shabistan where the kids have program. Take them to there. You can sit in the corner and read your ziyarat. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be right in front of the zari. You don't have to be right in front of the zari. At the end, go and touch the zari. It's the time for your child to have a connection with the Haram of the Ma'sumin alayhi salam. The Haram of the Ma'sumin alayhi salam, they're a part of the Imam themselves. It belongs to the Imam. You're in the house of the Imam. In these Shabastan, they have coloring, they have these different events that are going on, they have the reading of the Quran together in children. They love it, they'll enjoy it. Make that an experience. Let them have a connection. Let them have a connection. Fifth, speak to them. Tell them. When it gets to the nights of Qadr, tell them this is the night that all, and sometimes, listen, a sheikh might come and say it, a scholar might come and say it, but children have more ears to listen to their parents. It's more, especially in that very early stages. You say, listen, Ali, Muhammad, Zainab, Fatima, on this day, it is where Malaika wa Ruh comes down. All the whole year will be written, the rizq for you will be written on this day of Qadr. Say to them in Ashura, in these time when Abu Abdullah Hussain has been martyred, it is the time where your connection with Abu Abdullah shows itself. This is the time where you can learn from the companions of Abu Abdullah Hussain how to be a true companion for your own Imam Zaman alayhi salam. In the car when you're coming and going, when I speak to some of the scholar brothers in Qom, or different, some of them say to me, for example, I still remember that one time when my mother said to me, pray tonight and anything you want will happen. With certainty. With certainty. With certainty. One of the brothers was telling me that he went to the Haram and they were giving out balloons. They were giving out balloons. And my child wanted balloons, but it finished. Just as we got there, it finished. And I said, I'm sorry, it finished. And we were like, okay. And my child said to me, yes, but if I pray to Bibi Ma'suma alayhi salam, if I pray, she will give it to me. And this friend of mine said to me, in my heart dropped. I was like, well, what's going to happen? If she prays right now and this doesn't happen, she might lose her faith, she might think it's not true. I had all this worry. Yeah, this worry is a worry for the unbelievers, of course. And she said my child turned around towards the haram, to the zari, to the dome, because they were outside in the courtyard, and prayed in her heart. And she turned around and said, Dad, let's go. I know I'll get one. I'm going to get one because I prayed to the Bibi Ma'suma alayhi salam. I know for a fact I'll get one. Before we reach home, I'll get one. And he said my heart was just pumping out of my chest. I was afraid. We didn't take 3 steps. Someone came up to us and said, this is a balloon for your daughter. We have doubt? Is there a doubt in this? A Ma'sum kid like this turning to what's a little balloon? We don't believe that Hazrat Ma'sum can give us a little balloon. But this faith from this childhood, this will stay in their subconscious, brothers. This will stay. So when they get older, when we go to the haram, when we are 100% sure that if I ask this from Imam Rida alayhi salam, he will give it to me, I promise you, there is not a doubt in my mind that either he will give the same thing, if not better than it, because it's not in your best interest. And always we should pray like that if it's not in my best interest, then give me something better or different. We shouldn't persist on something that we think it's good for us, but might not be. And that for another time, inshallah. But it's always good that whatever is best for me, you give. But is there a doubt? These small things that we ask the Ahlul Bayt, is it really something for the Ahlul Bayt to give? Is it really something? Much harder than this, to open our hearts and purify our hearts of sin and making us one of insan kamil. That's what the Ma'sumin can do, let alone all these small little things. Rizq, money, wages, house, money, car. It's a joke for the Ma'sumin. It's nothing. But we believe in it truly. Truly we believe in it. And I'm sure you guys have seen people that have gone to Imam Rida alayhi salam, they know for a fact it will happen. It will happen. And I've seen some friends, companions that they've gone with such a certainness that they come and say, no, 100%, when I've asked Imam Rida alayhi salam, it's impossible for him not to give it. It's impossible. Impossible. This yaqeen, this type of belief, where is it coming from? Childhood. How will they see it if you take them to the haram? If you let them have a connection to the imams in the way that they see it. For everyone it's a bit different. But you speak to them. Not pushing them towards it, gently giving them the direction. They will go. Children are pure in heart. They will go towards the Ma'sumi alayhi salam. You just show them who they are, they will go themselves. Trust me. And when they have them in their life, you don't have to worry about anything. When the love of Abu Abdullah Hussain comes into their heart, even if they go a little bit astray, they'll come back on the right path. You just need to set the rails. Set the rails straight. They fall into it. Yeah, they might make a mistake here and there, as we do. But the path is still straight. The sixth, and probably the most important one, brothers and sisters, probably the most important one, checking the time, probably the most important one, is how I act. Is how I act. Me as the father and the mother, I'm a representative over there for this child. How do I act? I say, why are you not praying on time? I pray on time 60% of the time. That's not going to work. Not at all. It's when I pray on time, I read so-and-so Quran every day, and the ziyarat every day, and so-and-so, then when I say pray on time, that person will pray on time. Not that I do the bare minimum, sometimes even slip up, but I expect the excellence from them. And even with studies, I've seen this. Parents that don't even pick up a book, and they say to their kid, read, do so. They need an example. They need an example. In the even if they don't say it, or even if they don't think it, if it's good, then why don't you do it? I need to first build myself and then build them. It's important. I can't be a hypocrite. I can't say do something and I don't do it myself. It won't work. It won't. It is at times, and look, read the stories of the ulama. Please, some of these ulama, when they've reached high stages, you ask them, what made you have a connection with the Quran? Some Maraj have said right now, that we used to wake up in the middle of the night and we would hear the voice of our mother reading Quran. Still that voice is in my head. Still that beautiful voice of my mother reading Quran is in my head. That's where the connection comes from. This child wakes up in the middle of the night to drink water, to go to the bathroom or do whatever, and he sees his mother or father reading the dua from Mafatih al-Jinnah. Sees reading the Quran. Even the atmosphere of the house, you think in the house that Quran is being recited, this atmosphere is a normal atmosphere? Of course not. So when they see this, it will affect them. Try it out. You don't need to tell them, come pray. Pray 4 or 5 times. I promise you, even if 3 years old, they'll go and wipe some water on their face, come next to you and start praying. Why? Who are they trying to resemble? You. You don't even have to tell them. Tell your wife. You and your wife together. Pray. The whole family will line up. Will line up. This is important. And brothers and sisters, we need to be more careful in the West than someone else in Iran or Iraq. Why? Because the atmosphere in those countries is a religious one. For example, in Iran or in Iraq, in the time of Muharram, on that side of the street there's a Majlis of Abu Abdullah. On this side is a Majlis of Abu Abdullah. There's school, they're talking about Abu Abdullah. He's walking, they're talking about Abu Abdullah. Goes to the first, for example, red light, there's people keeping teas with Abu Abdullah. There's no help of Abu Abdullah everywhere. Yes? Those that have, for example, been in Qom or Tehran in these times of the 10 days. Everywhere around them, they're already receiving it. In this atmosphere, I need to do extra. Not only do they need to do extra, I need to do extra. Because me, myself, I'm not in that atmosphere. You work, for example, an office job. An office job in Iran or Iraq looks like when the azan hits and the azan goes throughout the whole company. Everyone hears the azan, everyone gets up, they go and pray, and then they go have food together. That doesn't have an effect? Of course it does. Everyone goes and prays. In the downstairs, or they have a namaz khuna, they have a local masjid or whatever they have in the company. Do we have that here? What does that mean? That means I need to create that for myself here. That means, yes, if that brother is going to work in the morning and he turns on the radio, and in the morning they're reading dua on the radio, and it's normal for him now, for me, I can't turn on the radio. I have to turn on dua myself while I'm going to work and listen to it. I need to put it for myself. When it is that I feel in the worst of times, and I turn to the Quran, I turn to reading some dua. For example, I feel very upset and I want to read the same munajat that Amir al-Mu'mineen used to read in Kufa, Masjid al-Kufa. What do you think my children will do? What will they do? They'll do the same thing. when they're in the most worst of times, when something's happened in school, they're upset, they will go and listen to that. And they will find sanctuary in that. And when that happens, they grow up with this sense of fana towards Abu Abdullah al-Hussein starts to build up. They dissolve in Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. One of the characteristics of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein's children and their companions, which Jabir ibn Ansari mentions from Imam Baqir alayhi salam, and in many narrations, is that the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and his children and his family would not feel the iron of the swords. Ya Hussein, what does that mean? I want to focus on this a little bit. What does that mean? They don't even feel the iron. They do not feel the iron. Does that mean it hasn't been hit? We can see a hadith from even Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, your companions, your family are those that on that day that you will be martyred, they will not feel the swords, the iron of the swords. What does that mean? Does that mean that they won't be cut? Of course they will. We know that it happened. Irba and irba. Worse than that. In pieces. What does it mean that they don't feel it? Let me give you an example from the Quran. What happens when they see Hazrat Yusuf? The women when they see Hazrat Yusuf. A materialistic example at least. Hazrat Yusuf was so beautiful, they were so immersed in Hazrat Yusuf salamullah alayhi, that when they were cutting their hands, they didn't realize that their hands are being cut. They were bleeding. They wouldn't realize it. Why? Their attention was somewhere else. Sometimes it's happened to us when we're really busy in work or something important, or we're playing sports, for example, for those that play sports, and someplace where we've been injured or we've been cut and we're bleeding, but we don't even realize because our mind is somewhere else. For some of the ulama, we have the same narrations. They were, for example, studying. They were so immersed in their study, like for example, some place caught fire. They didn't even realize there was that place caught fire. It's burning. They didn't know. They were in the book. The importance of these companions, brothers and sisters, was that they were so immersed in Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, they were so dissolved in Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, that they didn't even understand, they didn't even feel the iron being cut. What happened? Is that one day? Is that happens in one day? In 2 days? No. We read for Habib yesterday, from childhood, being in love with Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, immersed in Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. That's why he didn't feel iron. Hazrat Hazrat Muhammad, Hazrat Abdullah, Hazrat Qasim, each one of these individuals, look at Muhammad. They were made ready by Hazrat Zainab salamullah and their father, that you must give your life for Abu Abdullah Hussein. They were trained. They lived the life of Abu Abdullah Hussein. They lived it. What was one of the shart, one of the conditions of Hazrat Zainab getting married? She said to her husband, before getting married, I will get married. My only condition, which you can do in marriage, is that wherever Hussein goes, I will go. I will never leave Hussein. And he accepted. They accepted. Wherever Hussein goes, because she's dissolved in Abu Abdullah Hussein. Dissolved. There is no me. In Hazrat Zainab's mind, there is no Hazrat Zainab. All of it is Abu Abdullah Hussein, the Imam. If we can do that, brothers and sisters, we don't have to say, don't do this and we will go to the hellfire, do this and no. It's still the love from the beginning into the children, into our families. But we have to live it first. We have to live it. We have to embody it as well. We need to train ourselves. And then it can happen in our families. Practical tips, brothers and sisters. Especially what I'm saying is for the mothers, especially. Because that connection of a child with the mother is like no other. It is like no other. Especially the mothers. This instillment of Abu Abdullah Hussein's love from childhood. From childhood. It makes it happen that you don't feel the pain. And what happens? It happens that our Imam Zaman alayhi salam, which is not far away, brothers and sisters, it's not far. We can see the signs here. We don't know when it's going to be, but it's not far away. Then when it gets to our time, our children, we also don't feel all the pains. We're immersed in Abu Abdullah Hussain. Even the wave of media and deception doesn't take us. Why doesn't it take us? Because I'm dissolved in my Imam. My attention is somewhere else. My attention is somewhere else. I'm dissolved in my Imam. There is no me. All of it is Imam Zaman alayhi salam. As Onan Muhammad did. And inshallah we can embody that as well. Please recite salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Please recite another salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
Muhammad. Assalamu alayka Ya Abdullah wa ala al-arwah allati halat bibnaik alayka minni jami'a salamullahi abadan ma baqitu بقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. All together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Our brothers and sisters, when it's got time for the father of Hussein, of Muhammad and Aoun to come with Abu Abdullah to Karbala, he was very, very, very sick. Muhammad ibn Ja'far, because of his illness and old age, he couldn't come to Karbala himself. But he did send his two beloved sons, Aoun and Muhammad, with their mother, Hazrat Zainab Salamullah alayhi. And he instructed her, saying, if it comes to war, let them defend Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Let them give their life for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. The day of Ashura comes, Hazrat Zainab dresses Aoun and Muhammad in fresh clothes, cleans the dust from them, outlines their eyes, gave them swords, prepared them for shahadat. Then she brought to her brother Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and requested his permission. Ya Abu Abdullah, let them go to the battlefield for you. Of course, Abu Abdullah Hussein at the beginning, he was very he didn't want that to happen. He didn't want, of course, these two children of Hazrat Zainab Salamullah alayhi to give their lives. And he says, perhaps your husband Abdullah would not approve, Ya Zainab. At first, Hazrat Zainab replies, not at all, Ya Abu Abdullah. He specifically asked me to ensure that our sons go before your sons go. Let it be that my son gives their life for your son, Ya Abu Abdullah. He insisted. Hazrat Zainab walked to those two precious flowers on the battlefield and witnessed and said, what love this sister, this is Umar Asad saying this, what love this sister has for her brothers. She's sending her two sons to war for him. Now, this is more to the sisters today. Of course, all the sisters understand that two sons, two beloved that you've brought up, that you gave birth to dress them up, to get them ready and send to the battlefield, this is not an easy thing. Remember, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. ما رأيت إلا جميلا. The two brothers entered the battlefield and began to recite the war verses. We are from the lineage of Haydar, lion in heart, the legacy of Ja'far and Tayyar. We are going to the battlefield for Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. We are but two small gifts from our mother to Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. Bibi Zainab could not see the martyrdom of the sons of Hussain until she has seen the martyrdom of Muhammad. Your cause is our pride, Ya Imam. She would give all she owns on the path of bright. Our blood will be jewels in your sacred fight. By God, for truth follows with our veins. Oh mother, Ya Zainab, don't cry. We will die, we won't die in vain. Eventually Muhammad was martyred. Aun stood beside his blood-soaked body and whispered, brother, don't rush, I will join you too. I will join you soon. He took the fight such like a brave young lion with martyrdom. And after his legs gave out and he wanted to be carried to the tent, it's narrated that Hazrat Zainab alayhi salam did not come out the tents to even witness Abu Abdullah Hussain. This was nothing for Zainab. Hazrat Zainab alayhi salam said, I gave these two gifts. This is nothing for you, Ya Abu Abdullah. I have to give more. I have to give more. Nothing is enough for you, Ya Abu Abdullah. Ya Abu Abdullah. The blossoms of Zainab's garden were sacrificed for Hussain. In the land of Karbala, they became the honored guests of Abu Abdullah. They reached in union with Rasulullah. In that life, Rasulullah will take them in his arms and say, you have done well, my grandsons, you have done well. Ya Abu Abdullah, may I also give my life for you, my brother, pray for me. This is Hazrat Zainab speaking in those last moments. Oh brother, pray for me that Zainab may die, so that after you she doesn't live in sorrow and cry. Ya Abu Abdullah, I have forgotten Muhammad. All I remember is the shahadat of my beloved Hussain. Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. باسمك العظيم الأعظم جل الأكرام. يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله. May inshallah by this majlis of Abu Abdullah all of us be dissolved in our Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam. May inshallah in those nights, in those days that will come, we also not feel the iron that pierces our bodies. And inshallah we will become shaheed in the path of Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam, all of us, our children, our families, live a life of Abu Abdullah Hussaini. Please recite salawat al Muhammad wa alayhi.